So in our last session, we have discussed like how policies works, and like we have taken a couple of scenarios and we have performed it. So you guys got any chance to perform these tasks? Faced any
Yes.
difficulty?
Yeah, so while performing the first task,
Mhm.
we need to the first permission that we need to give is like list user. So take an example. So my colleague, I want to give him an like MFA permission. So is it required to give them list user permission every time?
List user permission not required. So but list MFA device permission is required. Activate MFA, deactivate MFA, resync MFA. So these permissions are mandatory. Let me quickly log into my AWS account. So from tomorrow onwards, I'm not going to use root user. I'm going to use an IAM user who have admin access. Throughout our course, I'm going to use the same user. So here is a policy. So whenever you associate this policy within IAM, we are giving limited. So see, we need to give list MFA devices, list virtual MFA devices. So without listing, you cannot perform anything. On top of that, create virtual MFA, delete virtual MFA, enable, deactivate, and resync if he is facing an issue. So these are the policies, these are the permissions you must provide to an IAM user. So now for whatever the IAM user you are associating this, so he himself, he can activate MFA. So he no need to contact root user or he no need to contact someone who have permissions on IAM. He can go to security credentials. He can open that MFA. He can activate. He can deactivate. For example, so you just want to give activation option. You don't want to give deactivation. Then remove this. If you this is for physical device. This is for virtual device. Delete virtual MFA device. If you don't give this permission, he cannot. Right? So these permissions are required.
One more question for inline user. Could you please elaborate a little bit more on inline user and how we can use it inline permissions for a specific user and how that will work?
First of all, we don't have inline user, we have inline policy.
Yeah, sorry.
So when coming to inline policy, see, for a user, you want to give a specific permission. For example, here within this group, we have 10 users, let's assume. But only for Avinash user, I want to give a permission. So if I apply at group level, what happened? How many users we have here, we can. Okay, so instead of going to the user and using this AWS given policy, what you can do, we do have an option that inline. So you can add a policy for this user, and whatever the policy you are going to add here, this is specific to this particular user only, and it is not a reusable one also. You cannot go here and you cannot find it. So but only from here you can add, and only here only you can find it. So such type of like a policies where we can inline to only one particular user, we call it as an inline policy.
We can add boundary policies also, correct? So how it will like differ from inline and boundary?
Come on, don't compare, both are completely different. There is no relation between these two. Permission boundary, how we are giving, why we are giving permission boundary? To set up maximum permissions for that user.
Agree.
But this one, you're giving permissions. This is a maximum permission. See, allocating a permission boundary won't give any access. If you have a boundary in a cricket stadium that doesn't give you any runs, so this is a boundary. It won't give you any runs. Whenever the batsman have this capability to hit, and when he hit, then only he is going to get that runs.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Avinash, one small question. So we can create inline policies, right? So, but we cannot stick them in the reusable content. But how can I track all the inline policies? What are available and those things?
Same question I got in chat box, so that's what I'm going to answer. So we need to pick user and we need to, so but we don't have any option to like filter these inline policies from here. We don't have that option. So any other questions, guys?
One thing, Avinash, the link for the demo sheet that you are preparing, right? Day before yesterday, that link was different, and probably the yesterday's link is different, right? So you
Yes.
shared yesterday, I didn't saved it. So when I refreshed that, yesterday's notes were not there. So is that going to change every day, or?
No, it's not going to based on the topic. So today we are discussing IAM. So I'm going to share IAM document. So the document name is iam.txt. So
Okay.
if you lost that link, you can do one thing. You have the video, right? Just go
Yeah.
to end of the video, just observe that URL, enter that in browser,
Yeah.
you will get that.
I thought you were writing everything on the one single sheet. Okay, I didn't check the link.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Okay, can you show again policy simulator option? Oh, come on, Prasanna. So please refer to the previous video. If you have any questions, we can discuss. Why? Because these are the topics we already discussed, right? So if you have any question, please go through that previous video. So observe the policy simulator and try to perform this task. So if you're facing any difficulty or if you got any doubt, yeah, then I'll clear the doubt. And explaining an entire topic, again, it's going to take all our time. I hope you got that. Okay, thanks for understanding that. Right. So here in today's session, we are going to observe a couple of options like, how to track user access, IAM user access, and so the credentials report and how to set password policy. So password policy. So by defaultly, we will have a password policy for all IAM users. So defaultly, we have a password policy for all IAM users. See, while creating an IAM user, we are setting one thing. While user logging for the first time, you need to create a new password. Or else you have one user you want to temporarily disable. You can go to that user, security credentials, console password it's enabled. You can make it disable. So now this user got disabled, he cannot log into AWS account. So some later on you want to enable it, then click on manage, enable. So you want to go with the auto generated password or custom password. See, we are selecting this option. I'm going with the custom password. So it must contain one special character and one uppercase letter. So combination of three. So now this is a valid password. So who defines this? Can I define my own one? And now I'm giving this. So this is a default one. As I mentioned, by default, we will have a default password for all the users. This, whatever the custom password you are giving, that must comply. But I want to set my own password. I want to have a capital letter as well as small letter. If I don't have capital letter, see it is giving an error. So I must have a capital letter as well as small letter, an alphanumeric and a special character to customize these password things. And we can depend on password policy. Along with that, we have an option required password reset. When this IAM user is resetting the password, he must follow the same standard. So I want to set my own standard. For that, we have an option called password policy. Navigate to account settings. Here, navigate to account settings. So there we have an option called password policy. This AWS account uses the following default password policy. Minimum password length is 8 characters, including minimum of 3 of the following: uppercase, lowercase, number, and any of the special. Among these 4, any of the 3 is okay. Must not be identical. So let's click on change password policy. All the passwords should contain minimum of 10 characters. Yes, we can define that here. So minimum password length is 10 characters I'm defining, and required at least one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, at least one number, and at least one non-alphanumeric character. So now it must contain all the 4 things. It must contain uppercase, lowercase, one number, and one of the special symbol. And its minimum length is 10 character. Okay, so now along with that, enable password expiration. So basically in organization, we are going to enforce password expiration for every 60 days or 90 days. Whenever we select this, so the default days is 90. For every 60 days, the existing password is going to expire and he need to create a new password. Before 15 days onwards, he is going to get a notification whenever he is logging. Your password is about to expire in 14 days. Consider changing your password. You want to continue? You want to change password? That window will come. So he can click and he can change the password, right? So that is a password expiration option. Enable password expiration. And password expiration required administrator reset. For example, so the password expiration period is 60 days. Within 60 days, this IAM user is failed to create a new password. On 61st day or 62nd day, he trying to log into AWS account. Now, do you want to enforce that user to? Do you want to enforce that user to create a new password, then log in? Otherwise, if he failed to create a password, if you select this option, he cannot create a new password. He must contact the administrator. Administrator means whoever have valid permissions in IAM or IAM admin or root user. So he must contact him. Then he need to reset the password. So that's what. If he failed to set up a password within these days, what do you want to do? If you don't select this, what happened? It will enforce him. It won't allow him to log in until he changes the password. That is the option here. And allow users to change their own password. They can change at any time, and you are giving permissions to change that password. And prevent password reuse. So basically system is going to remember last your 2 passwords or 3 passwords. You are not allowed to use the same password. That means, for example, you set up a password 123, and what happened after 60 days, it is going to expire. So after 60 days, if you are trying to reset a password, but password reuse policy is set with 3. So if you're trying to give same password, it won't allow. You need to give different password. Again, after 60 days, it is going to expire. Now, if you try to give 123, will it accept? No. System is remembering your last 3 used passwords. So it won't allow. So whatever the new password you are giving, it should not be same as your last 3 used password. If you're trying to give 123, again it won't. Why? Because system is remembering your last 3 passwords. So 4, 5, 6. Now if you want, you can give 123. Why? Because system remembered only these 3 passwords. So this got, like, system forgot. So that option, password reuse policy. So I'm going to set, like, minimum 10 characters, one uppercase, one lowercase, one number, and one alphanumeric. Password is going to expire after 60 days. Password expiration doesn't require the, and system is going to remember last 2 passwords. Then click on save changes. So now all IAM users, when they are creating a password, they must follow the standard. So for an IAM user, now whenever you are setting up a password, earlier whenever we gave this, see, it must contain one lowercase letter, an uppercase letter and a special character. So number is satisfied. If you don't give this number also, see, it must at least 10 character. Earlier we don't have this, but now we are getting as we set up a password policy. So it is going to, right? So while login also, that user need to follow the same standard. And generally in organization, no, we are going to share this password policy and all in an email. Whenever he join, we are going to have a default templates. Just change the username, whatever the username and whatever the link and all. Such type of standard email we forward. So within that email, we are going to share this information also. Your password always must contain these things. So we share that as part of KT, right? So that's a password policy. So any questions on this password policy?
Yeah, Avinash. So if I consider in real time, there will be like different password policies in the same account, right? Example, for the programmatical access, there will be a different password policy. I mean to say that expiry data, we can consider expiry data. And for user login, there will be separate expiry data. So can I say that?
First of all, we haven't discussed what exactly programmatic access is. Second thing, we are not going to have username and password for that programmatic access. And there is no time limit for expiring that programmatic access. So don't worry about the programmatic access now.
Oh, okay.
So this is a password policy for management console access.
Okay. But is there any policy possibility to set like different password policies for different accounts or groups?
No, this is a password policy for entire account. So there is no special policies for accounts or groups.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure. One question: that is there any service accounts, something like that? Service accounts?
No, we don't have service accounts. We have an IAM user. That IAM user you can use, or we have a concept called roles. Without configuring anything, also we can access other services. So we don't have any service like in Windows. So in Windows, you might have gone through that service accounts,
Yes.
but here, no.
Okay, sir. Okay.
We are going to launch a server. Within the server, you can configure any service accounts and all.
Got it, sir.
Yeah, right now we have changed password policy, right?
Yes.
Already we have 3 to 5 users. Will this policy will be applicable to the users which we already created?
Yes, it will be. So
Now,
if you want to
logging
enforce,
one of the user, what will be happening? It will ask to change the password according to the new policy created.
okay, if you want to apply the new password policy, so you can do one thing, navigate to security credentials, set this option. So you can keep an existing password. He is a disabled user. So for example, I want to apply this new password policy. I can go here. I can select this option. I'm going to keep his existing password and I'm going to select this apply. When this user login, so then immediately, so he must follow this. So he need to create a new password and he must follow the new password standard. First thing. Second thing, why we are discussing IAM as a first module? The reason is whenever you create your AWS account, the first thing we take care about is IAM. So as part of account setup, we are going to set up this password policy. We are going to enable MFA and all. So these things initially we configure. So how can I add other than those specified special characters in setting password policy? Okay, do we have any other special character than this? Do we have any other special character than this? If yes, we cannot add. We cannot add here. So you can set up this. If you want to, you can choose this. Otherwise, you can unselect this. But we don't have any button here to add any special characters and all. So you need to contact AWS to add those symbols. Right? How much flexibility does AWS offer in terms of meeting client enterprise passport protocol? This is the only option we have for the passport policy and all. So, yeah.
So Avinash, do we really do not change the policies after setting up the account? I mean, you said, right, that's the first activity that we usually take care of.
I didn't get that question.
See, the thing is, I mean, what you just did is like we were having just 3 users, right? And we just check boxes whenever they log in next time. They and whenever they have to sign in or probably they have to reset the password. Then
Yes.
there are multiple users, like 2000 or something, right, for an organization. So are we going to check that checkbox individually?
No need to. You can follow one small trick, that is change the password. Password is going to expire in 1 day.
Okay.
Save changes. So
Okay,
what
got it.
happened immediate next day, all existing user password is going to expire.
Okay, got it.
Whenever they are logging, so every single user need to create a new password.
Yeah, got it.
So we can set up this password expiration as 1 day. So
And
that
next
way,
time we have to change it again back to 60 days, right? After that.
yes, once they changed, immediately change it back to 60 days. So that works for us.
Okay. Thanks.
But Avinash, can we track who has changed and who has not changed?
Let me complete this. So I'm going to talk about that. Here is a credentials report. That's what I'm going to talk now.
Okay.
So here, okay. So you want to see all the credentials report. Credentials report means when the user is logged in, when he changed the password, when the password is going to expire, when he need to rotate and all. So you want to get that report. So we can depend on the credentials report, right? So here we have an option, navigate to credentials report and click on download report. Whenever you click on this download report, so we got a report here. So this report contain all the information. Okay. So it won't give complete information about the root user. So it tells not support and all. Apart from the root user, see how many IAM users we have, when the user got created, when the password is enabled or not at moment. For one user, I have disabled the password. See this, that is showing as a false here. When the password is last used, and is the password got changed, when he need to rotate next. So it is going to show you that information. And for this user, multi-factor authentication is enabled or not. So along with this, we do have some options like access key ID, secret access key informations and all. For an IAM user, we can generate two access keys and secret access keys. When it got generated, when it is going to rotate and all. So those options, does it contain any certificate and all, that option we are going to have. Don't worry about that options at moment, right? So by using this, we can get all the report. So that is a credentials report. And for this IAM user, we are going to get a name called ARN name. ARN stands for Amazon Resource Name. So for an IAM user, this is a uniqueness. This gives the uniqueness. So this is an ARN name of an IAM user. So this is a syntax. So here we are going to get a account ID. So then he's a user. If it is a group, you are going to get as a group. If it is a role, you are going to get it as a role. And here we are going to get a username. So ARN stands for Amazon Resource Name. So we are creating within the AWS account for an IAM user. We are creating this. So we are going to get an IAM. If we are creating it for S3, we are going to get S3 here, right? So S3, that's a resource. So we are going to get a unique ID for most of the resources. So this resource is for IAM, and here is a 12-digit AWS account ID. Whenever you create your AWS account, when you create for the first time, immediately you are going to get the 12-digit account ID. So then the user, what exactly user name you have given, that will display here. If you're taking group, for example, you navigated to groups, so you can even get a ARN name for the group also. If you observe this, see, 12 is account ID. Instead of user, we have a group and the group name. So this, if you, whenever in future, we are going to like discuss like how this user can switch to another AWS account and all. So at that time, so within another AWS account, we are going to give this ARN name and all. So that, the uniqueness comes with this account ID. So one AWS account is going to have a unique ID across the globe. So this gives the unique ID to access another account resource and all. So in your AWS account, you might have same user, but this is not going to be the same. So this we will use in our coming sessions. Okay. So by using credentials report, we can download the credentials report and we can verify. And not only that, you want to track the IAM user activities. So within AWS environment, to track anything, we have a service called Cloud Trail. So Cloud Trail is a logging service and it supports many services. So at moment, I'm going to concentrate only on IAM part. So what exactly user you have? So navigate to AWS Management Console. So here I navigated to AWS Management Console. Under Management and Governance, you can find Cloud Trail. Navigate to Cloud Trail. So everything, even if you refresh the console also, that activity is going to be logged in this Cloud Trail. So let me navigate to Mumbai region. So this IAM is a global resource. That means IAM does not require region selection. Whatever the user you create, whatever the group you create here, so that user can roam across like, any of the region. So he can access regardless of region, he can access. If you're giving EC2 permission, in all the regions he can access. So here by default, it will ask you to create a trail, but by defaultly this Cloud Trail is enabled. Cloud Trail enabled defaultly, and it stores last 90 days activities. If you want to store for unlimited days, yes, we can create a trail and we can store all the data into an S3 bucket. But now go to event history. It shows last 90 days activity. Now go here, choose for what username you want to. So go and pick the last option. Okay, I want to track all the activity of EC2 user. EC2 user 1. So you want to track last 30 minutes activity, last 12 hours activity, last the maximum you can set up is last 12 months activity. Then apply. So it shows everything, what exactly username and all. For example, I want to track all the changes of Avinash_T user for last 1 week. Apply. So it is showing all the. So on February 22nd, I logged in. February 22nd, I logged in with this user. And after that, I haven't logged in by using that user. See, everything list means whenever you go there, whenever you refresh. See, I have deleted a user by using this. What exactly that activity? Click on that. It shows from this particular public IP address. So when most of the times I'm going to connect from this 49 dot. So the same thing 49 dot. So from this network, I tried to create an IAM user. What is that IAM user name? The IAM username is Avinash1. Okay. So this Avinash_T user got deleted. Avinash1 user. This is what the activity it shows in JSON also. Okay. So at what time it happened and all. So you can pick a username. You can track all the changes. For example, including root user also. What exactly root user is performing. So today, so we are trying to get the policies, policy versions, get policy versions, list policies. We are trying to list policies. See, list access keys, list MFA devices. From what network and all we are doing. See, 32.146. See, 32.146. From this particular network, so the root user is performing this. Is it a read-only access? Is it a read-only operation? Yes. So nothing happened. So we just viewed it. So everything can be tracked by using this. So not only this, but most of we can even, if you want to, you can even download this as a CSV format file or JSON. And we do have some other options, like, for example, by using events only. So you want to see who deleted an IAM user or who deleted. So in that case, we can go here and we can pick what is the event name. So here we have different, events. So IAM is there, user is there. So these all are related to user. Like, you want to see delete user. So who deleted an IAM user? Root user deleted another user. And before that, like, on February 22nd, Avinash deleted a couple of users. So we can go here. So test user got deleted. By whom? By root user. So such type of activities we can track by using CloudTrail. Right? So that is also an important service for your certification exam. And when coming to this programmatic access, so as I mentioned, we have a dedicated session to go through this. At moment, I'm going to tell you a couple of things about this programmatic access. So this management console access and programmatic access, both are not same. Whenever you select programmatic access, we are going to get a access key ID and secret access key. Whenever you select programmatic access, we are going to get an access key ID and secret access key. And we can generate these keys, access keys. We can generate these access keys for an existing IAM user also. And another important thing, maximum 2 pair of keys allowed for an IAM user. So for an IAM user only, we can generate 2 access keys only. Access keys is nothing but access key ID and secret access key. And these are not username and password. And where we are going to use? By installing AWS CLI tools, we can use it. Or if you want to access your AWS environment by using, like, any of the IDE, like, you have Visual Studio, Studio Code, or Eclipse, or NetBeans, then you can configure this access key ID and secret access key, you can access it. Or else third-party applications. Or if you are performing software development kit or cloud development kit operations, there we are going to use it. Okay, so this CLI, we need to go to, like, aws.amazon.com/CLI. We need to go to this path, and here we have like a CLI tools. We need to download and we need to install this. Whenever you download and install this, so your local device will start recognizing a command called AWS. By defaultly, if you open a command prompt and if you give AWS command, it will give this error. If you just give AWS as a command, don't give double S. So it will tell you this is unrecognized. But once you install this, if you are trying to give AWS command, so it will recognize that command, right? So to recognize that AWS as a command, we need this, like CLI tools. To verify, you can give AWS space -" version. Then it tells, okay, what exactly version is installed within this local laptop. So now I can configure my access key ID and secret access key here. Then I can start using, like, I can start accessing all the resources. So in this scenario, we are going to use, when I'm giving AWS space configure, see here, it is asking me to enter access key ID, secret access key, what is a region, what is the output format. If I fill up these details, now I can start accessing all the resources, right? So it is saying invalid keys handle. Why? Because I haven't configured anything. Okay, so that is high level thing on the access key ID and secret access key. If you want to create an access key for an existing user, navigate to that user, go to security credentials, and here we have an option access keys. So click on create access key. So here we got an access key ID and secret access key. And remember, this is the only time we are going to get this. For example, you haven't saved the secret access key, but you have clicked on close. That's it, gone. There is no option to view this secret access key again. If it is a password, yeah, for username, we can reset the password and all, but even root user also can't see what exactly the secret key is. So now I have generated one. So what I can do, I can start configuring this in the devices, then I can start accessing AWS. Okay. In future, if you want to disable this, so you can make it inactive. Immediately it stopped working. Okay. So we have deactivated. If you want to activate, yes, you can go here and you can activate it. But see, we can see the access key ID, but are we able to see the secret access key here? It's not allowing us to, right? So if you want to generate another pair of, go and create access key, and see, now we have two for the same user. Okay, but can we create another one? See, this create access key got disabled. So that's what I mentioned. Maximum two pair of keys allowed for an IAM user. You cannot create another one. Okay. So by using CLI, SDKs, API calls, we can have maximum two keys, active or inactive. So you kept one as inactive. Can we create another one? If you even keep like both as a inactive, you cannot create another two. So you are going to have maximum of two. If you want to, you can delete existing one. Yes, you can create a new one. So this is high level overview to this programmatic access. So we have hands-on sessions in our EC2 module. Why? Because I want to show for multiple services. I want to show the same for IAM. I want to show same for S3 as well as EC2. So that's why we are going to discuss this thing later on in the course, right? So we have a couple of more topics, that is roles. Again, if I want to explain this role, I need to launch some servers. So that's the reason we are going to discuss these roles also in our EC2 module only. And one thing we always follow in AWS, that is least privileges mechanism. In AWS, we always follow least privileges mechanism. Least privileges mechanism means allocate permissions to do his job, not more than that. For example, he allocated to he recruited to perform something. Okay, gave the required permissions. Unnecessarily don't give like a root credentials and all. What exactly his job? So if you want to perform that, yes, provide that particular permission only. So that is the mechanism we always follow here. And I have couple of certification question related to this. Give me a minute. I'll pick that. Okay.
I have some questions. Can I in between?
I will give a question answers window, please. So here is the first question. What does it mean to grant least privileges to AWS IAM user? These are questions related to IAM, certification question related to IAM. D. granting only permission required to perform a given task. Okay, so this one, which of the following will enhance the security of access to the AWS management console?
Password policies.
Pass.
C.
C and D.
MFA.
We need to select
C and D.
C and E.
and E, multi-factor authentication and password policy. Security group is for servers. We haven't discussed that. Certificate manager, it gives us like a SSL certificates, TLS certificates. Secrets manager is a place where we can store our username and passwords, and we can call from program. Instead of hard coding the username and password, we can use the secrets manager. So to use the AWS CLI, users are required to generate
B option.
B.
access or secret key need to be generated. Which of the following can be used a second factor within a AWS management console for MFA? Second factor is nothing but two factor.
D, access key and secret key.
C. UTF
C.
security.
UTF security.
U2F key. So this is not a this is not giving any additional layer security. So it is U2F key, UB2 key will give that. And this is a pretty easy question. Which AWS service makes it easy to manage AWS users and groups, provide permissions? IAM. Okay, so basically most of the questions I picked from Cloud Practitioner here, and we do have some questions here related to support plans also. So we haven't gone through that. So I think we have gone through those questions.
No, we have
No support plans. Okay. So which support plan will provide these architectural and
Enterprise,
operational
D.
Enterprise.
Yes, enterprise. And simple monthly calculator that we are going to talk later. But basically, so if you want to calculate how much money we are going to get charged if you are using a particular resource and all, so that simple monthly calculator, it estimates monthly billing based on projected usage. So B is the answer for this. And so benefits of cloud for companies like migrating to AWS and shared responsibility model. I think we discussed this. Who is responsible for security and compliance? AWS and customer. The shared responsibility model, both the parties are responsible. And okay, this is something related to global infrastructure. How can a user protect against a service disruptions if a natural disaster affects an entire geographic area?
Answer C.
C. Yeah.
Yes, entire geographic area. Geographic area is nothing but a region. Region represents a geographic area. If one entire area goes down also, if you deploy across multiple regions, yes, you can sustain. So that is one. So which method helps to optimize cost users to moving to AWS?
Paying only
A.
As you.
Yeah. So this is the one we haven't discussed. So basically, if you find anyone using AWS resources for malicious purpose, you want to report it. So in that case, you can report to AWS abuse team. AWS Shield, it protect our resources from DDoS attack. Support, they will help us to
DDoS.
yeah.
అంటే వాళ్ళు ఒక సాఫ్ట్వేర్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తారు కదా సో బేసికలీ ఒకటే సబ్మిట్
Come on. So, so basically, DDoS means, so if you have a server, that server capacity is 100 requests per minute, 100 requests per second. But what hacker will do, he generate 1000 requests. So what that server will do, it stop responding. So the traffic is going to be flooded. So such type of DDoS attack protection we can perform by using AWS Shield. AWS support is to get assistance from AWS on only 3 categories. Developer forums, like, whenever your basic support, like you want to get assistance, you can depend on this. So among this, AWS abuse team will help you to protect from malicious purpose. Like, you can report we have a email ID you need to write down. So this is also one question related to, like, so which benefits are included with the basic support plan? Oh, sorry, it's a business. So it's under business support plan.
A and C.
B and E. E.
TAM. Basically, TAM you will get for enterprise only.
Oh. A and C.
So A 24/7 support and unlimited number of cases. Yes. Annual and operational reviews also again for enterprise only. 15 minutes response time also for enterprise only. TAM also for enterprise only. So only 2, A and C. So those 2. This question again related to AWS global infrastructure. So which of the following describes the relationship among AWS regions, availability zones, and edge locations?
A and C.
There are more regions than availability zones.
No, C and C is availability zone and edge location. That's one answer.
Is it? No. Edge location is an edge location. Availability zone is an availability zone, and edge location is not an availability zone.
E. There are more availability zones than
B
AWS
and E.
regions.
B and
B
E.
and E.
B and E.
Okay, there are more edge locations than AWS regions, and there are more availability zones than AWS regions.
Yeah.
See, we have 22 or 24 regions, 24 regions, I believe, and 77 availability zones, 220 plus edge locations. No, you don't need to know that exact figure, but availability zones is a 70 regions. If you must know, okay, every region contain minimum of 2 availability zones. So every region contain 2 availability zones. So what you need to choose? So always availability zone count is going to be more compared to regions, and across the globe edge locations are available, and we have approximately 220 plus edge locations are there. If you take India, we have an edge location in Bangalore, another one is in Chennai, one is in Hyderabad, one is in Kolkata, one is in New Delhi, and another one is in Mumbai. We have total 6 edge locations just in India. But how many availability zones? We have only 3. AP South 1A, 1B, 1C. So there are more edge locations than AWS regions. There are more availability zones than AWS regions. So, and I want to mention one more thing, guys. I didn't get, I haven't covered that point. See, if you go here, if you count how many edge regions you can find, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We can find only 20 regions here, but we have total 22 regions. We can see only 20 regions, but total region count is 22. Where is the remaining 2? Basically, remaining two, right? One is for China region. One is for China. Second one is US GOV cloud. So this China, it has its own trading policies. So in China, we have total 24 actually. So in China, we have 2 regions. And US GOV cloud, we have 2 regions. So China has its own trading policies. You cannot directly invest in China and you cannot run your business and all. So what Amazon did, they partner with NWCD and they partner with CNET. These are the companies, Chinese based companies. So AWS partner with them. So one region is going to be managed by NWCD. Another main region is going to be managed. So how to use this? How to use this? So you must request an account. AWS China region. Whenever you pick this AWS China region, here, so you need to request first. So request an account, click on that request an account. So here you need to fill this. So you need to give your use case and Amazon is going to review. If they want, if they are okay with that, then they will provide an account. See, NWCD operating Ningxia region. Cinet is another company operating Beijing region. So total we have 2 regions here. Another 2 regions. So those regions are like, it's the resource, whatever the resource we are going to launch, it is defined by US government standard. For example, we are going to have some compliance standard in US. Whatever the patient record the software company is storing and all, so that must comply with the Hipaa standard. So we have FedRAMP, FIPS, PCI DSS. So these are some standards. So Hipaa standard, like Hipaa stands for Healthcare Accountability, Healthcare Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So what exactly the standard defines? Whatever the patient record you are storing, that should not be disclosed to any other one, and that hardware must be encrypted. So this is a checklist basically. So if you are using, so technical and administrative privacy rule, so the environments must comply with this. It must be encrypted, it must have log access and control access, so auto log off after some time automatically, like such type of options. So you must have that particular standard. So in similarly, US government defined many standards. For example, FedRAMP also one of the standard. FedRAMP also one of the standard, and FIPS also one of the standard. FIPS, Federal Information Processing Standard, is a standard that describes how we can process the documents and what is the encryption algorithm and other technology standards within non-military government agencies and all. So that is also one of the standard US government defined, and you might know this PCI DSS. So many companies like you might seen this logo many times, PCI DSS. If you go to Paytm or PhonePe, they have. So this PCI DSS is something related to like a credit card information. So whenever you are giving your credit card information to that website, so they are going to store that information, right? So that company is going to store that information. Whenever you logged in next time, they will just ask you the CVV. So how? They are storing your credit card and debit card information, right? So if they have this particular compliance standard, so then you can trust that site. If you don't have this PCI DSS, but if they are trying to store the credit card and debit card, you cannot trust their standard. So to store credit card and debit card, so such type of all standard is defined within this. And first of all, you need to sign up to use this. You need to sign up to use this. So then only you are. Even if you want to sign up, your account must created within US, and your support team should be in US. So such type of limitations we have, but I'll show you where you can sign up. Navigate to my account page and scroll down. Whenever you scroll down here, you can find GOV Cloud. So if you want to sign up for those particular 2 regions, sign up for AWS GOV. It will verify and it tells you, okay, these are the areas you are not matching and all. You need to contact AWS basically. Okay, return to account. So we are not matching. Why? Because my account is created in India. The address and everything is in India, and some standards also we must mention that. So whenever we contact AWS, then they will allow. So then only you can find all the 24 regions. Otherwise, you can find only 20 regions here. So that is a reason. And So this is, we already discussed. So this migration, so AWS also is going to have some services. What can assist in evaluating an application for migrating to the cloud? So basically, we have AWS professional services and AWS partner networks. APN, so organizations, so they match with the standard defined by AWS and so then Amazon is going to award them with the APN, Amazon Partner Network. So we have some APNs for migration service. So you can take help of that APN companies. Otherwise, Amazon have its own team. Amazon have its own team. So it's a AWS professional services. So that is to help or migrating any resource to AWS and all. So trusted advisor, we know it just give advices. Systems manager is to automate the services and all, to automate the installation or patching. We have systems manager. Secrets manager, it stores the username and password. So for evaluating of an application, professional services and partner networks. Okay, under basic support plan, what can AWS users with the AWS basic support plan obtain technical assistance from? Are they going to get assistance for
Discussion
technical?
forums?
Yes, from discussion forums. Right. So these are some questions related to that IAM. So in our next session.
Can I ask a questions on the users and roles,
Yes.
sir, or later?
Yeah, now I'm open to all your questions. Yeah.
Okay, so now you explained that users, right? So is there any user session timeout, for example, 20 minutes automatically auto log off if I don't do anything? One question. Second one is, if I open the same user account with the two browsers, will it automatically auto log off with the one browser?
Okay, so if you want to implement, we need to depend on a service called SSO, Amazon Single Sign-On. So there is a service for that. See here, Amazon Single Sign-On.
Okay.
So if you activate this, we have an option. So by using that particular option, we can define, okay, for after 60 seconds, the session need to deactivate and all. So those things we can configure. For example, here, session duration, we have an option within 1 hour, the session is going to deactivate. So
Okay.
by integrating SSO, we can, that we are going to discuss later.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question on CloudTrail.
Yes,
So
please.
is there any way to create our own topic to understand like how this activity is happening?
Can you please elaborate a bit more, like, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so in event history, like you have shown us, okay, we can select a specific user and then his activity. So I need to track and very specific activities. I need to create my own kind of like.
You want to, like, when that particular action got triggered, you want to get an alert and all. So
No, I'm saying like there are some activities that those are not defined into our event, like event history.
okay, first
I need to create my own.
First thing, CloudTrail can even track your refresh also. So whatever service AWS introduced, it by defaultly comes under CloudTrail. First thing. And if any particular activity you want to track within your server, so within server it won't, but within AWS console, it track everything. Within AWS console, it track everything. Every single operation is going to added here. So tell me one operation, I can show you here. Why? Because everything will be available here. So what? See, whenever you set read only to the false, it shows only write operation. If you want to find, like, read only, it shows millions of the records, including refresh and all. So here is the event name. Every single event only Every single event, just even if you scroll down to the bottom, you can find millions of the. So name one, yeah, we can. So if when a particular event is happened, if you want to get a notification and all, yes, we can configure by using SNS along with the CloudWatch. We can configure it, but every single operation is available within CloudTrail.
Okay, and thanks for the clarification. And what is this insight? Event history, we have like
Okay,
insight.
we have a dedicated session for this CloudTrail. So how much we required at moment, this username part I covered.
Okay.
Inside, if any unusual activity is happening on your AWS account, it shows here. Suddenly the traffic is flooding and unusual, like, one server, like, the general use is like, only 100 requests per minute and all, suddenly it took 1,000 requests and all. So
Hacking also it will cover here, right, sir?
So that comes under insight. So you no need to worry about that at moment. We have a dedicated session on CloudTrail.
Okay, and Avinash, I have one more question on while creating our own policies, we got an option of resources. What is that about? Like I got like little stuck yesterday to understand those resources stuff.
So here, what do you want to allow? What do you want to deny? Okay. So based on the service, we are going to have resource. For example, if you are taking S3, in S3 we have bucket. Do you know what exactly bucket? We haven't discussed. Tomorrow we are going to discuss. So that's why I clearly mentioned in our last session, select all resources. The only reason is these things we haven't discussed. So now for your question, the answer is you can apply permissions for only this particular bucket. For example, you have an IAM user, for that user, you want to just give this particular bucket. So where we are defining this? So I want to give this particular bucket name for this. So I can select a bucket. Okay. Add ARN of that bucket. What is the bucket name? I can give the bucket name. Then add. So what are all the actions I am allowing here that will allowed only on this particular bucket? So that is what resource means. Individual service level like a resources.
Got it, Avinash. Thanks.
So any other questions, guys? Here I'm sharing, I've shared that URL in our chat box, and just click on that link, give a right click and save as. So you will get this IAM text document here. And do we have class tomorrow? Okay, as Naresh team is instructed, so we don't have session tomorrow. So from Monday onwards, the link is going to change. Okay, ask students to pay the fees of 12,000, and whoever did not pay the fees, respond and pay soon. Okay, so here is a message from Naresh team. I'm simply copy and pasting that in our chat box. So whoever not done the payment and also please do that. And from Monday, from Monday onwards, we are going to start with the S3 module, and just look for your inbox for the updated meeting link. So if you are satisfied, if you are okay, if you are comfortable, then so done the payment and continue with this batch, right?
Is there any email where we have to send the receipt and all that? I have paid the fee, but
Okay, you need to take a screenshot and you need to share that to online training at nareshit.com or .in. Naresh team, can you share your email ID here? To what email ID they need to send the confirmation? Balaji, are you there, or any other one here from Naresh team?
I have the email ID. I can share if you want.
Yeah, please.
This was
Okay, I got it. Thanks, Parash. Okay, so here is a email. So you need to take a screenshot of that and you need to share. And whoever already done the payment, if you not yet created your AWS account, do that immediately. Why? Because you already paid the fees, right? So you need to create your AWS account and you must practice. So please spare some time, create your AWS account, and practice these things like a IAM. Okay. So any more questions before closing the session, guys?
Do they know?
Okay, one point, like the limits for this. So we can create 5,000 IAM users and all. So we have a dashboard. So service quotas dashboard. So just look for service quotas and go here, pick IAM service. It tells, okay, identity and access management. It tells all the service quotas, how many IAM users you can create, how many groups you can create. For example, you can have 300 groups per account. IAM groups per user, one user can be member of 10 accounts. And also how many access keys? Only 2. Is this adjustable? No. So customer managed policies, we can have 1500. So those all things you can find under service quotas. This is a question raised by someone yesterday. So here we covered that, right? So we can have 5,000 users per account, 5,000 IAM users per account. Okay, so please spare some time and create your AWS account and start practicing. Monday onwards, we're going to start S3, right? That's a storage option on our AWS environment. So that's it for today's session. So what is DevOps and it used with AWS? So the process we automate, like, whatever the process we create, and if we automate that, we call that continuous integration and continuous delivery is a core part of the DevOps. And we have our own services to perform it: code pipeline, code build, code deploy, and code commit to perform that automation. Saiteja, and I already shared a Jenkins course. For this, and Git course also. If you haven't registered, I'll share it later on in our course again. So there you can learn everything related to that, like with the general tool called Jenkins. All right. So no,
Recordings, Avinash?
we don't have session tomorrow. And if you are not able to get the recording, please contact Naresh team on the WhatsApp. So otherwise, just drop an email to onlinetraining@nareshit.com. So they will definitely help you to get the records, and they can share all the records also in a single email.
Okay, thank you.
We don't have session tomorrow, Manoj. Next session is on Monday. So we have sessions on Saturdays, but just because of this payment thing and all, I got instruction from Naresh team. So we don't have session tomorrow. All right. So that's it for today's session. See you again on Monday. Have a nice weekend, guys. Thank you. Thank you.